Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the PSBlue Podcast, available everywhere. This is episode 14. As always, I'm joined by Vinny, my cousin and co-host. Vinny, are you feeling better today? Because you sounded a little weird last time.
Yes, I hope I sound better. I know I sounded like I was taking orders at McDonald's last episode, and I apologize profusely to our hardcore fans out there, but hopefully I sound a little better. I'm doing good, man. How about you?
Yeah, I'm doing pretty good. It's, a little bit of a crazy week for me this week. I'm trying to sell a car and blah, 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 blah. That's always a pain in the butt. But other than that, I've been a little busy with that, but I'm also very excited about the games I've been playing. Okay? I've been playing Yakuza Like a Dragon. I beat it. So I'm going to give a little mini review as one of our talking points a little bit later in the episode. But other than that, I played Rollerdrome, which I absolutely love. I love Rollerdrome. Bug Snacks. I picked up Bug Snacks for a little bit because that's free now for PlayStation Extra. Have you played Bug Snacks at all? We didn't talk about this off the air, so let me just ask you right now.
No, I never played it. I know it was, the free game of the month? I want to say the first month that the PS5 was out.
Yeah.
It was free. It was a free game of the month, so.
Yeah.
No, I never played it, though.
I didn't get to pick it up because if you listen to our previous episode, I didn't have a PS5 back then, so they wouldn't. Oh. It was really weird. They wouldn't let you add it to your library unless you owned a PS5, which is super kind of anti-consumer. Which is another thing we're going to be talking about a little bit later in this episode. But how about you, man? Have you been playing anything noteworthy?
Now that you. To piggyback off of what you just said, you know what that made me think of? Remember when we would add PS Vita games, those games, the free games of the month, just to be on the safe side? Remember?
Yeah, we didn't
That's
even
exactly
have it.
where my mind went there, even though we didn't have a PS Vita. That is too funny. I know there are probably listeners out there that did the same thing.
But that paid off because when I finally got my Vita, the games were
you had
there
a whole
for
library.
Me. Right.
That's awesome. That is so funny. I totally forgot about that. That is hilarious. But like you, I'm actually dabbling in a lot of different things. The first thing that I want to say, I have been trying to beat Final Fantasy VII, the remake, and I'm at the final boss, Anthony, and it's genuinely soured on me, the final boss. The spawns at the end of the game are like insulting. Is literally insulting. I'm at the final boss. All right, you know what? I'm just going to say it. I think we all know who the final boss of Final Fantasy VII Remake.
Spoiler
Can I
alert.
say it? Yeah, so you fight Sephiroth, right? Before you fight him, you got to fight like 16 different dragon people, in that little like, underworld, whatever that place is. Yeah. Anyways, when you get killed against Sephiroth, it takes you back like 6 boss battles. So you got to refight the first 6 bosses. It doesn't take you back to the Sephiroth fight. So I'm getting kind of pissed off at that right now.
I don't...
didn't know. It's ridiculous. It's really just soured the game for me. And I know the whole point is, I should be prepared for those final battles. But, so I'm hoping that I beat that this week. Other games, I've been dabbling in some Doom Eternal, which I think is outstanding. I think it's an amazing game. I love playing it.
Yes.
Other than that, the other game that I wanted to bring up, I did play Madden. We're going to talk a little bit about Madden later.
Okay.
But the other game that I played was Fortnite. And I know you are disgusted, but Fortnite actually has a funny, I don't know if you saw it maybe on the PlayStation Store, has a pretty funny DLC right now, which is the Dragon Ball Z. Everything is Dragon Ball Z themed. And it's actually really impressive. There's a lot of cool moments in the game that are directly, just love letters to Dragon Ball Z fans. There's a lot of moves from the Dragon Ball Z universe in the game now, so that's fun. But other than that, not too much.
It's funny you brought up Fortnite. I'm going to tell you something that this is going to surprise you very much. I've been playing a battle royale.
Wow.
Only for like 30 minutes. Man. But 30 minutes is about 25 minutes more than I've ever gotten in a battle royale. And I streamed it. But the mic quality was so bad because I was using the controller mic that I ended up not even posting it or anything like that. But I'm thinking about potentially doing some sort of a stream or gameplay video because we don't really do that on the channel. I wanted to see if it could get any legs, so I might try that. But the game that I'm talking about is Rumbleverse.
Rumbleverse. That's the wrestling game, is it not?
Right.
I haven't played it. I've heard of it. What do you think?
So one of my big problems with online multiplayer games is like, people using aimbots and controller hacks and just 10-year-old savants that are just so good at shooters you can't even like enjoy the gameplay. And that's sort of alleviated a little bit in this game because it's melee focused. So I got in the top, it's a 40 person battle royale, and I got in the top 8. And
Wow.
I'll be honest with you, it gets a little, your adrenaline, when you get in the top 15, top 10, you see that number sort of shrink, you start to get a little bit of an adrenaline rush. And I have to say, maybe I was a little bit too hard on Battle Royale because maybe I just, it just wasn't, maybe Fortnite just wasn't my style. Maybe I shouldn't have shit on an entire genre. Maybe, and that's my bad. And,
Wow.
yeah.
Look at you. I knew you'd come around someday, Anthony, and I never thought that Rumbleverse would be the one to do it, but I'm glad that it's funny because I was going to download the game. I just haven't had the time. I got too many games to play right now, but I think they're like actively advertising this game in the PlayStation Store. I want to say it's like the first thing whenever you go in there.
Yeah, it's Epic. It's Epic. I think Epic published it. Epic Games.
It looks,
I don't think it's
looks
the same.
very Fortnite-y graphically. It looks
it is
very
graphic.
Fortnite.
Yeah. Very much so. And then you got all the trimmings of a free to play game, just pop-ups that do not go away, and just you have to exit out of all that stuff and just sort of and that's the part that I can't stand. That's why I never make it past the queue for the loading. I mean for the matchmaking. That's why I very rarely do I get farther than that in one of those games because I see the menu and I just get immediately disgusted. But anyway, I feel myself starting up a tangent, so I'm going to reel it in, and we are going to talk some more video games. We got some great topics today, including Madden 23, Death Stranding, PS5 prices, and more. But before we get into it, the quote of the week. And Vinny, I'm going to pass this over to you because it was one of my quotes, actually.
That's right, Anthony. You got our most prestigious award. That would be the quote of the week. Last week, Anthony said, I believe, actually, Anthony, this was when we were talking about SpongeBob, the new SpongeBob game that's coming out, the platformer. Anthony said last week, quote, there was a dry spell of mascot platformers in the mid-2010s, but you're starting to see a revival of this genre, and this is something that I am just so over the moon about. But there was a dry spell for a while there. I don't know why. It's one of my all-time favorite genres, end quote. Anthony, I couldn't agree any more with what you said here. Do you have anything you want to add? What are your thoughts?
It was a really funny moment in the podcast. If you actually listened to our previous episode after hearing Vinny's McDonald's drive-through audio quality, if you got past that, which by the way, McDonald's is not sponsoring the video. I just want to make that clear up front. But anyway, so if you got past that, you were in for a really good episode, but we started to go into this very philosophical territory because we didn't have a lot of topics. We had, a handful of things. It was sort of a slow week, but this week is just the complete polar opposite. But anyway, having said that, I gave us some room to breathe with these topics, and we got into this deep philosophical conversation about video games and genre and how you can only do certain things in a video game, and we're going to talk more about that in a little bit with Psychonauts 2. But Vinny goes like this. He goes, all of this from SpongeBob Cosmic Shake. And you just had to be there.
That's what it was.
You just had to be there because we were getting really, really philosophical. And he goes, thanks, SpongeBob Cosmic Shake.
SpongeBob Cosmic Shake
yeah.
was to thank. That was the catalyst for just such a deep,
super
in-depth conversation. Too
super
funny.
Okay, so we're going to dive right in here. Really quickly, I wanted to say, I forgot to mention, Vinny, Psychonauts 2 review. He has not beaten Psychonauts 2. That was the requirement of this for your consideration. like I mentioned, we've both been kind of busy, and I know that that's a recurring theme the last few weeks, but bear with us here. What we're going to do is we're going to split up Vinny's For Your Consideration into 2 different episodes. So we're going to have Psychonauts 2 Part 1, we'll have Psychonauts 2 Part 2, and then the following For Your Consideration will be my review of Trover Saves the Universe. So that's how we're going to approach that, just to let you guys know. So, with all that housekeeping out of the way, Vinny, tell me why Madden 23 is your presumptive game of the year. Go ahead.
That's right. You caught me, Anthony. What a good segue. All right, let me just say this about Madden. This game, it's the same game every year, Anthony. We're getting the exact same game every single year. And
Right.
I want to apologize beforehand to our audience because I am the moron that picked up Madden 23. I paid $70 for this game, and I'm so disgusted with myself. $70. It's not $60 anymore. $70 I paid.
Oh,
I got
God.
coerced by a few friends to do, the online, what do they call it? Franchise mode, which is cool. But I played this 8 years ago, the exact same game, Anthony. I couldn't believe it. I haven't played a Madden in a few years. I would say 2, 3, 4 years, somewhere in that range. It's been the exact same game since 2011, 2012. They keep adding little things to this game, but fundamentally, it's the exact same thing. And my goodness, the Ultimate Team has destroyed this franchise. It just has. It's taken over completely. That's where all of the time is being spent, I'm sure, internally at EA. And one thing that I think I was mentioning to you, the most disgusting thing about Madden 23 is when you search it on YouTube, you search for it on any sort of website or, do a quick Google search, all you see are these, card pack openings, best cards. You don't see people genuinely talking about this game is shit. The game is shit. And I'm sorry for being so direct about it, but there's no other way to describe this game. I'm sorry. I'm disgusted with this game. I'm disgusted with myself for paying $70. I can't do it anymore, man. I can't do it. Maybe I need counseling about paying for Madden. Maybe that's what I need because I keep getting coerced into buying it, and I'm that moron that keeps thinking it's gonna be different this time. It's gonna be different this time, but it's always the same. It's the same
man.
game.
You know what?
It is, man. Did you go ahead?
Here's the thing. They're geniuses over at EA. They really are. I mean, they are on a business perspective. The game comes out during preseason when the hype around football cannot be higher. If you are a football fan, all you can think about before week 1 of the regular season is football. For I would say 3-4 weeks preseason, because the media jams it down your throat. If you are even remotely into the sports world, all you see is football stuff. 24/7. 24/7 a month before. So it's hard to not have this hype build up for the NFL season. So what better way to get yourself excited for the NFL season than buying the new Madden that comes out before week 1 so you can get that football fix in early? Total genius move. You know what I mean? But because of this, because it is such a rock solid marketing strategy, I would say, they don't have to try at the game anymore. They just don't. And what a disrespect. How disrespectful it is to John Madden that the game has sunk this low. Now, I will say they did a great job of tributing him when you first turned the game on, because John Madden passed away before this new one came out. So they did a nice job of making tribute to him. Some really cool stuff with like he was famous for his screen drawings and things like that. And they did a really, really, really good job of tributing him in the opening game that you play. John Madden's actually coaching on your team, and they make this big dramatic deal out of it. They put you in his old stadium, the old Raiders stadium. Very cool. Very, very cool. So I'm really proud of the developers there for doing that and giving him the proper sort of send off, if you will. But his legacy is forever preserved in the Madden series. Unfortunately, it's the Madden name is becoming tarnished and becoming associated with microtransactions and money grabbing, or money grubbing. I don't know, however that phrase is. I might be saying it wrong, but whatever. So it sucks. It just sucks. And I'm a little bit higher on the game than you are, I think, because I didn't pay for it yet. And I say yet. You see how I use the word yet? Because
Yes.
the going back to the marketing strategy, I want to see my rookies. I'm a Giants fan. I want to see those rookies in uniform on my team. You know what I mean? I want to pass to Wan'Dale Robinson. I just want to see him take the field. I want to play as Tyrod Taylor when Daniel Jones gets benched. God, please don't let that happen. But sorry, I'm going off on a little bit of a tangent there. But anyway, so what I'm trying to say is, at the end of the day, what it all boils down to is they don't have to try as hard to sell copies of this game, sort of like Call of Duty. And the difference here being Call of Duty has a different formula that is the Call of Duty formula has a higher room for error, I would say, than the Madden formula, because you are playing the same game in a vacuum over and over and over again in a 60-minute game of football. You know what I mean? Call of Duty, they at least go to a new location. They at least do. But even Call of Duty's starting to get a shorter leash now. Vanguard was not received well at all. But reeling it all in, getting back to my point, I will say this. Critically, I've done a roundup of reviews, looked at it, sort of, try to look at it as objectively as I possibly can. The next gen version of the game has been received far better than the current gen version of the game. Okay, so the graphics are heavily improved, and you don't really notice it until you look at gameplay for earlier Maddens. But I thought the graphics were pretty good, actually. And pretty convincing, and a real highlight for the game. So there's that. It has that going in a positive way. The face of the franchise mode apparently was completely revamped, and that's supposed to be very good. But the game is barren of certain features on current gen versions. So this game, if you are looking to pick it up, you might as well wait for the next gen version, because that is the definitive version of the game, and that is the only version that will give you some sort of feeling of newness here. If you don't get the next gen version of the game, just don't even bother. Really, find a custom roster somewhere online and just get your new players that way. They won't have face models and things of that nature, but at least you'll have an updated roster. That would be my advice. Now, Vinny, it seems like you want to say something. Go ahead.
No, I was thinking about your Call of Duty point, because I do think it's important to bring up, because at least the Call of Duty developers have a chance to succeed. And what I mean by that is Activision we say a lot of bad things about Activision, but they do have a very wise business strategy or development strategy with the Call of Duty games. They have multiple developers internally that make the games over a 3-year long period. Infinity Ward makes their game over 3 years. Treyarch makes their game over 3 years. The internal development teams have time to actually make good games. With Madden, it's the same team every single year. They get 10 months to do an update, to add some sort of, movement, or add a few other animations. That's it. That's the only time that they get. So it was a great, it was, I'm happy that you brought it up, because it made me think of that. But man, it just feels like I paid $70 to go off your other point for a roster upgrade. That's all I did. I paid $70 for a roster update. That's it. Right. This game should be, and it feels like I paid $70 for a free-to-play game. This game should be free-to-play. It should. Absolutely. Madden should be free to play. It plays free to play. 100%. They're basically charging $70 for what should be a free to play game. Let's call it what it is. And I'm glad you agree with me, and I'm sure everyone else does. And they're getting away with it. That's the worst part, is they're getting away with it. And they're not going to stop, because these games sell so well every single year. And like you said, they're geniuses. It's evil geniuses over there at EA because they know people are going to buy this because of football, and not everybody loves football, but I mean, my goodness, the game sells by itself just because it's a football game. That's it. And, you know, it's just disgusting, man. I need counseling for buying this game. I'm so upset with myself. I finally caved in. I did it thinking it would be different, but it's not.
So, to all of our non-football fans, I apologize because this is, it's getting into rant territory. This is a big segment, but Vinny and I have been following football for 15 years now. You know what I mean? And it's a place of comfort for us. And it's I've been playing Madden since Madden. Shoot, I don't even know the first Madden game I played. The last one I remember was the one with Donovan McNabb on the cover. Which one was that, Vinny?
Oh, man, that must have been
Excuse the typing.
2003, 2000, early 2000s, I want to say.
It was early
maybe
2000s.
Late 2000s, like 2009,
06.
something. 06. There you go.
Yeah.
Okay.
I remember that one.
Yeah.
So that was how many years ago? 15? 16?
Yeah, 16 years ago.
16 years ago. Holy cow. Anyway, so this is why, again, just fast forward a little bit. I'm not going to come up with any time codes or anything like that. I got to wait until we get our first intern for that, but I have a little bit more to say about Madden, so hang in there because we're still talking football. Okay. Field sense. Field sense is, I don't even know what that is. So if I
those are just words. They're just throwing words together and hoping
apparently it's something with the I think it's something with the AI where the AI is supposed to like react more organically to the football. I tried reading up on it, but I don't typically do call to actions, but write in if you can explain field sense to me better than the major news outlets. Also, the new passing mechanics. There's a couple of different options that you have, and I tried them all. I don't understand it.
Me too. It's weird.
It's giving me a headache.
Yeah.
I
Did
just
you go
click
back
the same
to just
button.
the original?
Yeah, I didn't go
went
back to the
just
original. I should do
really?
that. Vinny, I should do
That's
that.
what I did.
I left
gave
it
up.
on. I left it on whatever it was on, but I don't use it. The only thing I use is bullet pass. Like during a slant or something, you have to do. If you don't do bullet pass, they'll pick it off. So I like slants in Madden, and you hold it down to do a bullet pass. But other than that, I tried on a deep ball to pass it, toward the sideline so only my receiver could catch it, and it just didn't work. It's maybe it's just an acquired taste or something you have to learn, but can you guys write in about that as well? Because for those of you that have been playing Madden and understand the field sense a little bit better, or understand the new way of passing the ball, the more, I guess, skill stick version of passing the ball is the best way to describe it. Please explain it to us. If you get it under your belt, is it worth it? Do you like it? Does it do anything for the game? Write in. I need to know about this because it's seriously piquing my curiosity, and hopefully people say, hey, this is an actual feature that I like and enjoy. But so okay, so you were just as confused as I was. I'm happy to hear that.
Yes.
Because I thought maybe I was just not getting it, and maybe there's just something wrong with, maybe I'm just getting old or something. But here's the other thing I'll say: the Giants have a new coach. The Giants have a new coach every 2 years, so I have to get the next Madden iteration every 2 years because
same thing here. My goodness.
All right, let's move on.
So sad.
Let's move on. So for our intern, 25 minutes roughly, in case there's no edits. 25 minutes, Madden discussion over. We're moving on to other stuff. No more football talk, no more sports talk. What is next on our radar? Death Stranding is coming to Game Pass. What is going on, Sony? Sony, what is going on? Okay, so this is from news.xbox.com, straight from Xbox's website. Tomorrow is in your hands. Death Stranding available August 23rd, so it's already out by now, with PC Game Pass. Kojima Productions and 505 Games are incredibly excited to announce that Death Stranding, a Sony IP, is launching August 23rd with PC Game Pass. The genre-defying open-world action-adventure game stars Norman Reedus, Mads Mikkelsen, and other people. Windows 10 and 11 PC gamers can expect such features as ultra-wide mode, photo mode, high frame rate, and crossover content from some very well-known franchises. Vinny, the definitive version of Death Stranding is going to be on Xbox. PC Game Pass, okay? But it's Xbox nonetheless. What is going on here? Why can Sony allow this to happen? How is this happening? Microsoft must be giving them an insane amount of money to do this, or Sony just doesn't care anymore. I help me out here, Vinny, because I don't understand what's going on. Because do they not realize that this is a big deal?
All right, Anthony, I got you. You're in good hands here, because guess what I'm about to lay down? One of Vinny's famous theories, ideas, whatever we want to call it. That's right, I got one for this. Because I'm refusing. I can't. I'm trying to make sense of this as well. It doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me. Did Microsoft pay Sony? What happened here? And so it got my mind kind of churning, if you will. Okay, and I'm gonna make this make sense to you, and it's not gonna be some elaborate theory, but it is something that came across my mind. I think this was purposefully done by Sony. I think it certainly was. This is not a situation where Kojima Productions went behind their back, or maybe even something like the MLB The Show situation, where I want to say that was Sony, or what was it, San Diego Studios? Or I'm probably referring to that studio wrong, but kind of going behind the backs of Sony, if you will, and putting MLB The Show on Game Pass. I think Sony was probably a little caught off guard by that move. I don't think that's what's happening here with Death Stranding. My mind is going to the Activision Blizzard deal, Anthony. Sony is trying to, I think we're seeing some ripple effects here from that deal, because Sony cannot lose those games. Sony is maybe trying to get on the good side here of Microsoft. Hey, we'll give you some of our games. We'll put some of our games on Game Pass for you. Can we also maybe we get a piece of that Elder Scrolls game that's coming out in 8 years? You know, can we maybe get the next Diablo game on our console? Even though I know Diablo 4 is coming out. But I think this is
later. Later, though, right? It would still be timed exclusive on Xbox. Just to clarify, if there's a deal like that going on, it would come to Xbox first and then Sony consoles.
I'm not even
right?
saying there's a deal. I don't even know if it's like a deal, but I think that Sony internally is thinking to themselves, we better start kissing some ass. We had better start kissing ass. We better start playing nice, because Microsoft has the ability to just take so much away from Sony, like a ridiculous amount. So that is what I'm thinking's happening here. And a game like Death Stranding is a Sony-owned IP. And like I said, not like MLB The Show, which was not owned by Sony, the IP itself. This to me is it just feels like this is ripple effects of that Activision deal kind of playing here, and Sony playing nice. And I think we're going to start seeing things like this more frequently going down the road, because Sony knows what's coming. It's coming next year at some point. This deal is going to go through, and you better start kissing ass.
Okay. I respect the theory. I don't know if I agree. I think it's. I don't know that I disagree. I just think it's a little bit. I think it's a little bit of a reach. I do. I think that if there was something like this happening where we have really, really big business-minded people that understand the cycle of video games as an industry, Okay, they understand what's happening in the future. This is a little bit uncharted waters with this Activision deal, but nonetheless, they understand the general concept very well of video games as an industry. So if there was something like this happening, I think it would have already happened. In other words, some sort of contractual agreement between Sony and Microsoft saying, okay, the Call of Duty games are coming to PlayStation. We just got to get it in writing once this deal is done. They're still going to come to PlayStation. We'll give you Death Stranding. Some sort of, communication there between Xbox and Sony. Maybe it's not a contract, but some sort of proof that, they're going to get some return on this investment, for lack of a better term, in them giving Death Stranding to Microsoft, to Game Pass, because it could have just as easily come out for Steam and Epic Game Store, just like Spider-Man did. Why Game Pass? I'm hoping you're right. I'm hoping they have some larger, grander scheme here, though. But let's not get it twisted, Vinny. Sony still sees themselves as a competitor to Xbox. They do not want to play nice with Xbox. Well, I mean, they want to play nice with Xbox, obviously, but they don't want to feel like they are beneath Xbox as a company. Like they owe something to Xbox because they're going to lose too much if they do not kiss their butts, like you're saying. I don't think that's
Anthony,
it.
I think it is. Number one, first thing I'll say is I don't think those conversations can take place until Microsoft has fully actually acquired Activision, which hasn't happened. It's not going to happen for another year. It
Right.
still needs to get approved by a lot of people. And we heard Sony straight up say when they were trying to explain, I think, to some board, I think we had discussed it a few weeks back, where Sony, I want to say the CEO, maybe not the CEO, but a representative of Sony essentially said nobody can compete with Call of Duty. There's no way we can compete with it at all. So Sony, this is unlike anything we've ever seen. I mean, we keep going back to this Activision deal, but also think about Bethesda. I mean, Sony can't live off of just their own IPs. They can't do it. Microsoft has honestly reached a point now where they own too much. Like you can't just stay on your high horse, so to speak, and just say, no, we're not giving them anything. Like, I think it just seems to me that, like, otherwise it just doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense to me if this isn't what's happening.
I don't think it's that deep. I don't think it's that deep.
So
do
you think they just, what do you think it is then? Because
I'll tell you.
It sounds like you're trying to, go ahead.
I'll tell you exactly
Like they're
what
trying
I
to
think
just
it
get
is.
money?
Yes, because this is my thought process. That Death Stranding did not do as well as they would have probably liked, right? It's a Kojima game. Kojima games have a very high ceiling, let's say. Metal Gear Solid. This guy Hideo Kojima makes games that sell like a blockbuster hit every single game he makes. Death Stranding was a little bit more niche, a little bit more like it had an audience, right? It sold moderately well, but not as well as Kojima games of the past, or at least that's the impression I have. So when Death Stranding comes to Game Pass, when Death Stranding comes to PlayStation Plus, Sony's done making money on this game. Okay? They're officially done making money on this game. So the only way they can see any sort of return on Death Stranding now is to sell it to another service. And we've seen it with Spider-Man coming to Steam, coming to Epic Game Store. And we're seeing it here with Death Stranding. Now, I don't think it's a lot of money. Maybe that's sort of an ulterior motive. Maybe somebody pitched that. Hey, we'll play nice with Xbox here. They'll like us for this. We'll get on their good side. But I really just think it's to get maximum value out of this IP. That's really all it is, in my opinion. I don't know. What do you think?
Interesting. It's just, if that were the case, I think that could be it. It could be. But I don't think that this happens if Microsoft doesn't own or is about to own Activision Blizzard and owns Bethesda.
Yeah, see,
I
I
don't
think it
think this
happens.
happens.
I think it happens.
I don't
either
think this
way.
happens at all.
think
Sony
it
would
happens either
never
way.
do something like this. They
I
would
don't know,
never.
man. My only apprehension about this, as a Sony business person, is, I look at this IP, Death Stranding. I look at just the game, just this one game, Death Stranding, and Death Stranding Director's Cut. I guess it's 2 games if you want to consider it 2 games. I look at it, I say, okay, sales are pretty much obsolete at this point. Everybody who's going to buy this game has bought it. We can make a deal here with this service. We're not calling them Xbox. We're just saying we're not viewing them as Xbox. We're viewing them as a business partner, not a rival in this situation. Let's just make some money. But, that contradicts everything else that Sony has sort of done when we see the new PlayStation Plus structure that is directly competing with Game Pass. So why would they directly compete with Game Pass like this and then contradict themselves by taking an exclusive game from their service and bridging the gap between Game Pass and PlayStation Plus, essentially making their own service less valuable? Why would they do that?
I'm trying to tell you the only logical explanation. It's the only logical answer here is we need to play nice with Microsoft. We need to do something. Because guess what? Microsoft, if Sony doesn't do stuff like this, Microsoft has every right and probably will say to themselves, we're not putting Elder Scrolls on PlayStation.
But they're not going, that's a decision they're going to make, either way. I don't think this has any bearing on it.
Microsoft, it's a give and take, Anthony. These are business deals. You gotta give something to get something. Okay, I'm thinking to myself,
right? Exactly.
Microsoft
it's a business deal.
So if it's let me say this real quick. Microsoft sitting in a boardroom meeting deciding whether to put Elder Scrolls on the PlayStation console, right? They're talking about Elder Scrolls 6. Guess what that conversation is going to be like if Sony's never given Microsoft a damn thing? They're going to say, we're not putting it on that console. It's not going to happen ever.
Okay.
Yet, if Sony over the last year has been giving us Horizon, has been giving us, Death Stranding, well, okay, maybe we'll put it on their platform a year later. Well, we'll feel a little bit more inclined to do so. Microsoft has so much money, they don't care. They can do whatever they want. I just get it. Otherwise, I just think this has everything to do with what Microsoft owns. I refuse to believe that Sony's a bunch of morons.
But like
There's no way.
But like you said, it's business, right? So if it's business, they're not looking at, oh, Sony was nice to us that one time. They're looking at, are we going to make more money than we're going to lose if we do that? That's literally all it boils down
Anthony,
to.
But if you don't give Sony Skyrim, Sony's not going to give you anything anymore. You're not going to get that anymore.
Okay, that's a fair point.
Take there.
That's a fair point.
You're not going to get Horizon or Death Stranding. You're not going to get these games.
All I'm saying,
so that's
all I'm saying is, it's a fair point. There would have to be something in writing already for Sony to part ways with one of their exclusive games that makes their service, which is our next topic is, I'm going to go in on Sony's service a little bit, but makes their service a little bit better. Having every exclusive game that Sony has on PlayStation Plus makes their service a little bit better and a little bit more competitive with Game Pass. Because right now, there's not much competition. So, in my opinion, they're not going to give up something like that unless they already have something in writing or already have some sort of a pending deal in the works. So, I agree with you with that one caveat. Okay,
I'm gonna disagree there. We're gonna have to ask the audience here because I disagree. I think this is Sony having foresight here, understanding they're kind of stuck between a rock and a hard place, so to speak. They don't have it, they're losing so much, or have the potential to do so. I think this is them having foresight and thinking to themselves, you know what, we better start playing nice. We better start doing stuff for them. Otherwise, we might be screwed.
This will be This will be an interesting one. Yeah.
Yeah. Everybody's got to let us know what they think in the comments, because this is interesting.
We're going to have to keep this on. Obviously, we're going to be watching out for how this situation unfolds, but it's a great point, and I think that'll get us some interesting, it'll get the conversation going. It'll lead to some interesting discussions here of that theory, because you could be absolutely right. We won't know until we know. You know what I mean?
No.
So this next topic is about PlayStation Premium. Highly related topic. We were just talking about Sony's subscription service, trying to compete with Microsoft and Xbox. And what better way to do that than with the premium, just listen to that word, premium. It is the best of the best premium tier of PlayStation Plus. The stupidest thing you could do with your money right now, unless you really like streaming PlayStation 3 games, unless you really like Sony classic games and you have a backlog of games that you want to play, the stupidest thing with your money that you could do right now is upgrade from PlayStation Extra to PlayStation Premium. The service is offering literally nothing new. Okay? Nothing new. $14.99 for PlayStation Plus Extra. Great deals, great games on there. It is a great offering. Okay? For an extra $5, you get a whole library of games that is more than worth your money. From $14.99 to $17.99, you get PS2 games and a couple of free trials. Okay? 1 hour free trials. So the only new thing that we see this month, mind you, we got a couple new Yakuza games and Bug Snacks, and which I already mentioned I'm playing. Some really awesome stuff for the extra tier, which is great. Free. Every 2 weeks you're getting new games because you're getting the new PlayStation Plus free games of the month at the beginning of the year, and then at the beginning of the month, and then halfway through the month, 2 weeks later, you're getting new extra games, which they've already pretty much guaranteed in writing. So, but for premium, $3 more, what do you get? A 35-minute trial of Rollerdrome, which was advertised as a 1 hour trial on the PlayStation Store. Okay? So I upgraded and they let you do it, they let you pay like a retroactive fee. So let's say there's only 2 weeks left in the month, you can upgrade for $1. So I did it because I wanted to check out Rollerdrome because I was like, this game looks awesome. I want to check it out. Excuse the voice crack. I want to check it out. Let's do Rollerdrome. I'll do it. I upgraded for $1.70 or whatever it was. I download Rollerdrome. I click on it. It says, you have 35 minutes remaining on your 1 hour PlayStation Plus trial. Even though, and I have screenshots, it says on the PlayStation Store, a 1 hour PS Plus trial is included with your premium membership. Now, this is a big problem. Okay? 35 minutes to an hour, it's 25 minutes of gameplay, right? That's whatever. It's not that. It's not the 25 minutes. It's the false advertising. It's the sort of lack of awareness that you have this quote-unquote premium tier, and this is the only thing you're offering. You can't even give us 1 hour. I understand they had to make the deal with the developer in mind. I'm sure that there was some sort of a negotiation process there. But we have Rollerdrome here, and we have, courtesy of PushSquare.com, they reached out to the developer's private division, the publisher, private division, who published Rollerdrome, the trial time discrepancy, as they put it on the website. They say, quote, the PS Store page displays a 1 hour estimation for Rollerdrome's PS Plus premium game trial length. The actual play time limit for the trial is 35 minutes, which provides an introductory experience akin to a demo. We encourage anyone who is interested in Rollerdrome to give it a try. End quote. That is from, again, private division, courtesy of PushSquare.com. They reached out to the publisher. So, I need a second to process this. They are giving you 35 minutes. And they did some more digging. This is included in loading the game up, going to the main menu, starting the game, watching the opening cutscene. That all counts as part of your 35-minute trial. Okay? So you can essentially play 2 levels. That's fine. Whatever. It is what it is. Again, it's not the 25 minutes. It's the false advertising. Now, if you go on the PlayStation Store, because Sony got flack for it, it just looks silly. On the PlayStation Store, you will see a 0.58333333 hour trial included with your PlayStation Premium. Yeah, that's literally what it says. If you do 35 divided by 60, that's what it says. So
Wow.
that's it for my rant. I apologize. Vinny, talk to me about this because this is your first exposure to this. I know. I sort of surprised you with this. Go ahead.
Yeah, I'm letting it sink in a little bit here because that's just dirty, man. That is really a bad business practice. I really can't believe that they, like you said, it's about the false advertisement. It's not about necessarily the length of time that you were playing or anything like that. It's just about, because you know what's funny? I saw the 1 hour, what was it? Try this game for 1 hour, right? They were actively advertising it on the store. Like, I remember I was on the store, like, I want to say like a few days ago I saw it. And I was like, oh, I'll have to check it out for an hour. I know. And I'd seen your video and you said that the game was really good. I was planning on checking it out, at least maybe testing it for an hour. But I'm so glad that you did this PSA about that extra or that premium tier, because you're absolutely right. That we've been preaching this, I think, even from when they announced the services. There really just isn't much there to get that premium tier, that extra. I don't even know how much it is a year, right? I think it's like damn near double what the extra tier is. So, man, that is a crazy story. And now you said it literally will show a 0.8333 demo. Like what does it say?
Okay. So I looked at the PlayStation Store on my PlayStation 5 because obviously I was invested in this story. I was $1.73 invested in this story.
Yeah.
Because that's the other thing, Vinny. You don't have premium either. You were thinking about playing the trial. You would have had to pay an extra couple of bucks here. And I actually contacted Sony about it because I wanted to talk to them and bring it up on the podcast. I mentioned something and then they immediately ended the chat. So that's
my goodness.
Yeah. So go figure. But anyway, if you go to the store.playstation.com in a web browser, it still says subscribe to PlayStation Plus Premium to play a 1 hour full game trial. It still says 1 hour. Right now, August 28th, 2022. It still says 1 hour free game trial. Full game trial, excuse me. But on the store, unless they changed it because it looked kind of ridiculous, which it did, on the store, I remember going to the store, checking it out, and it said, subscribe to PlayStation Plus Premium for a 0.583333 full game trial. Why couldn't they just say 35 minutes? I don't know. It's just this whole situation has some stink on it to me.
It does, and
the game's awesome. That's the worst part. It's such a good game, and just buy it if you're interested in Tony Hawk at all. If you like high octane, high fast paced games, just don't even give Sony that extra $1 for the demo. Just buy the game. Just buy Roller Drum.
Yeah, I agree. I'm thinking about buying it myself now. I'm not even going to bother with the demo. And based on what you've said, it sounds like it's going to be an amazing experience. But
yeah,
back to just to close this out, if you will. But yeah, it may seem like a small thing too, but I feel like on this podcast, at least since we've been running, there's a lot of little things adding up here for Sony that just stinks.
Right.
Compared to the PlayStation 4 era where they were super always pro-consumer, it felt like. Whereas now, I go back and I always bring this up, that us paying that extra $10 for Horizon Zero Dawn, I'll never forget it for the rest of my life. But us paying $70 for the PS5 version when the PS4 version was $10 less. Don't even get me started on it. You knew I had to bring it up. I can't even handle it.
For those
little
of you,
things like that they're starting to add up.
Let's bring them in. For those of you that don't know, you could buy the $60 version of Horizon Forbidden West and then upgrade for free to the PS5 version. All you had to do was go on the PS4 PlayStation Store, buy it, upgrade it for free.
Anthony, or you could be like me and you, spend the extra $10 for the PS5 version.
Yeah,
and
just to support Sony.
Not even bother with
they're a little upcoming.
Not even bother with the free upgrade. Why would we bother with it? Because we already have it.
Oh my god.
Yeah, so the little things are starting to pile up here for
I
Sony.
Agree.
Very anti-consumer. So
I agree.
I'm glad you brought this PSA out there though, because it needed to be said. I'm glad you brought this up. This is really interesting. I can't believe that this actually happened. That's crazy.
Again, it's not the 25 minutes. 35 minutes is plenty of time. to know whether or not you like the game. I'm just going to sit here and tell you, watch some gameplay instead if you don't already have premium. If you already have premium, fine. It's not about the time. It is about the principle of it. It really is. It's just the principle of it, the false advertising. It's not a good look. A lot of little things are adding up, like Vinny said. But that is plenty for me to talk about on this topic. Vinny, do you have anything else on this?
No, man. I'm glad you brought it up, though.
Then let's go ahead and move on. So our next topic is related to our giveaway that we did. Episode 10, $10 PlayStation Store card. We are not going to do it for 15, but we are going to do it for 20. That's right. Episode 20, we will be giving away a $20 PlayStation Store gift card. 20 for 20. The only rule, and we will get into this later, but the only rule that I have is the same person can't win it again. So, having said that, the winner of our $10 PlayStation Store gift card that was given away for episode 10 is, and I apologize for the mispronunciation, Peter O'Dwee. Peter and I had a pretty nice correspondence, and he mentioned to me that he listened to our PS5 podcast and enjoyed it because he just got a PS5, and, you know, it was really nice to hear about his experience. That's awesome, and he's going to try some of the games we mentioned, but more importantly, I asked him, I said, Peter, what did you buy with the $10 PlayStation gift card courtesy of PSBlue? And he let me know he got Horizon Zero Dawn. He also mentioned that he got the Horizon Forbidden West PS5 bundle from Target, and he wanted to try the first game, so I told him he wouldn't be disappointed. He said he admittedly dismissed it in the past because he thought it looked a little cringe, but was wrong. I understand the sentiment. It is, I don't know if cringe is the right word, but I understand what he's saying. Horizon is a little bit, you have to suspend your disbelief when you're playing Horizon. I will say that. So, Peter, really happy that you're enjoying the podcast. Don't forget to check out our backlog because there's some little PS5 nuggets in there if you want to go down the rabbit hole. But thank you again. I really appreciate it. And enjoy Horizon Zero Dawn. It's a great game. And I highly recommend playing that before playing Forbidden West. I think that is the correct approach. There is a lot of story-heavy things happening in Forbidden West, and it would behoove you to play the first game, I would say. Vinny, any comments on this?
I'm in agreement. It was a good choice. Horizon Forbidden West. Zero Dawn's a really good game, so you didn't make the wrong choice there. We thank you for listening, Peter. Appreciate the support.
Okay, great. Moving along. So, like we just mentioned, people are starting to get their hands on the PS5. It's becoming a little bit more accessible of a console. However, this is like not a very good look for Sony. I know we talked about some other negative things happening surrounding Sony, but they're starting to raise the price on the PlayStation 5. So I'm reading an article courtesy of Polygon.com, and they sort of break down all the price increases, but this console's going up. And I also need to say, Peter actually, the one that won the giveaway, he actually gave me this talking point. So, write in because we will use your talking points. I had no idea this was happening until he made me aware of it. So, sort of related. But anyway, the prices are going up everywhere, but not the US yet, as of yet, which I would argue is one of their bigger markets. So this whole thing is just sort of bizarre. But off of the article, we can see that it went up 50 euros in Europe. It went up 30 pounds in the UK. It went up all over the place. Japan, China, prices went up. It's Australia, 50 Australian dollars price increase, all from launch price, of course, and it's both editions, the digital and the Blu-ray. They both went up the same amount across the board. It went up in Mexico, 1,000 pesos. In Canada, it went up another 20 Canadian dollars. What? I don't know why. I understand why this is happening because there's a chip shortage, obviously. There is a it's harder to access the it's harder to meet the demand for the required parts to make these consoles. So, in order to compensate for what I'm sure is a premium that Sony is paying, they have to bump up the price of their console so they still turn a profit. Now, my argument here is why not just sell it at a loss like they did with the PlayStation 3? You know what I mean? I mean, I get that they need to turn a profit at some point, but as we know, we've been playing video games for 20 plus years. You make money on software sales, not on hardware sales. I mean, sometimes you know, have a little bit of a profit margin on the consoles, but really just, I mean, in my opinion, Sony needs to kind of just eat it. And maybe that's a naive interpretation of it. Maybe I don't understand the inner workings of what's happening with like I said, this is speculation, but I'm sure their parts are going up for their you know, cost to produce the console has increased significantly, in my opinion. It just, you know, if I had to guess. And that's based on so many factors that all started back from COVID. So Vinny, talk me through this. This is a bizarre topic. I just think the timing of it is a little bizarre to me because people are finally getting their hands on PS5s, and then you're going to bump the price up. Why?
Yeah, really weird, especially this far into the console's cycle, if you will. 2 years ago, the console came out, and now we're seeing a price hike like this. It's just unprecedented, something that we've never obviously seen before. And I said this earlier, and we talked about this earlier. It's kind of these little, you know, again, these little kind of negative anti-consumer moves that Sony has been doing that are starting to add up. And this is just another one. You know, it really is bizarre because I'm right with you. I think the smart move, now I'm not going to act like I'm there internally at Sony, obviously, but the smart move to me would be to just eat the cost, because it's really, it doesn't come across in a good way to the consumers when you're increasing for the first time ever of a console of this, you know, stature, if you will, raising the price, especially two years down the road. I mean, the PS5 Pro has got to be coming out soon, you would think, in the next 2 years. So my mind's kind of going there as well. What is the cost of that going to be globally? I have no clue. And like you said, I have no doubt that, you know, the price to produce these consoles is just probably really going through the roof, so to speak. It's definitely increasing. Obviously it is. Talked about global inflation rates being really bad right now. But this can't be the first time that Sony or these bigger companies have experienced this level of inflation, you know, and we've never seen these consoles go up in price, you know, and I know it's not happening in the United States, so it's just really, really a weird situation. I've never seen anything like this. I'm trying to make sense of it myself, to be honest with you. It says here that the inflation rates in the U.S. aren't as bad. I guess apparently that's why we're not seeing the price hikes.
I was going to ask.
Yeah. It says that it's just because of the currency trends in some of these, not some of these other countries, in pretty much every other country. It's just it's reaching a point where it seems like they're just, like you said though, you earn money off of software. That's a known thing.
Right.
You know, that's just been the way that it's been forever. And then on top of it, you have you have Microsoft coming out now, Nintendo coming out within the last week, all of which are saying we're not increasing prices because they were asked. So Sony's the only one doing this. I don't know, man. It's kind of rubbing me the wrong way. It's really just does not come across, very good for Sony from a branding standpoint. It just doesn't. Like I said, these little things are starting to add up, and it's making Sony look bad. It just is.
Yeah, I agree completely. And I have a quote to add a little bit more context. This is from Sony, from a blog post. They say, quote, "The global economic environment is a challenge that many of you around the world are no doubt experiencing. We're seeing high global inflation rates as well as adverse currency trends impacting consumers and creating pressure on many industries." end quote. Now, that's all fine and dandy, and that's pretty much just reiterating what, you already said. But it's not a good look. You're absolutely right. You're competing. Again, I want to go back to this new PlayStation Plus, right? Because when you see PlayStation Plus modify their entire delivery system like the way that Sony just did, you can very clearly deduce that they are trying to compete with Microsoft still. You know what I mean? That is an indicator, a huge indicator, that they want market share from Microsoft, or they wouldn't go, tit for tat with them, so to speak. They want to compete with Microsoft. Now, having established this, that Sony is still trying to compete with Microsoft, they're in the same space, obviously, but I'm saying they're still direct competitors. Microsoft is getting a huge upper hand here because they did not do this. Okay? And we are seeing a global renaissance for Microsoft. They are starting to get market share globally in countries that they never had the sales volume that they're experiencing now before. So, PS5 might still be doing fine right now, but Microsoft is trending up and Sony is unfortunately trending down. And it's it's hard to see an excuse like this talking about inflation when consumers are being impacted by inflation. So that sucks. You're making it worse on them. I understand this is a sort of a luxury console. I understand that this is not a necessity for life, but you're making it harder on people by raising the barrier of entry to buy a PS5. It's already hard enough to get your hands on one. Now you got to shell out more money, and like I said, it's becoming a little bit more available. That's why this is it seems opportunistic. Maybe it's not. Maybe this has been sort of in the works for a while, but when you have a console that is getting more sales volume and at the exact same time the price increases, that is super suspicious to me. I don't know. Maybe it's a coincidence, but I don't think there's much in business that is this much of a coincidence. You know what I mean? I don't see it as a coincidence, I should say.
Yeah. I completely agree, man. This just rubs me the wrong way. It just kind of stinks, like we've been saying with a lot of things that Sony's been doing. This just kind of reminds me of PS3 era Sony, so to speak, like a move that they would have made, when they were struggling. And so, it's just mind-boggling to me that nobody else is raising their price. I know that Microsoft obviously has a lot more money than Sony, clearly.
Right, they can ride it out financially.
Yeah, and Nintendo, to a certain extent, I'm sure has, flexibility there as well because, these consoles are selling like hotcakes. I mean, it's just mind-boggling. I don't know, man. It's just super anti-consumer. Like you said, yeah, it's unlike... most industries, we would see this happen. If costs go up, well, then the consumer's cost is going to go up. Usually we would see that, but we've just never seen it in this industry before. Not
correct.
With the console market. So just really weird. And especially, like you said, the big thing for me is the profits are turned from the software, not the hardware. So that's very mind-boggling to me. So very anti-consumer, not good Sony. Not good Sony.
You know what this says? It says that they're in trouble, financially speaking. I think you're right. Microsoft can sort of ride the wave, but this is hurting Sony. Very clearly this is impacting them. This inflation and increased cost of production of their consoles. And that sucks. There's no way around it. That definitely does suck. But it's just weird timing. Like I said,
yeah. And
I don't want to spend Go
Yeah,
ahead.
no, just to wrap it up, I'm sorry. Their thought process is probably, well, let's just raise the cost. These things are going to sell anyways. We're going to sell them. Like, they're selling like hotcakes. What's a $50 price hike, right? But that's just a slippery slope to go down. That's just, it's very, yeah. I agree, man. I think we both think this just reeks. Is not good. Not a good look.
I mean, here's the thing. If I had to pay $50 to secure a console, and it was an extra $50 to secure a console, and they threw in a $50 PlayStation Store card, which they could definitely do, by the way, that they could, they could sort of move the funds around to make that work in their favor, then that would be a more consumer friendly move. Do you get what I'm saying? Like they in my opinion, and again, we're not obviously insiders in this industry, so we're sort of speculating, the both of us, but I just think that would be a more consumer friendly look. Even if they give you $25 of a rebate, even if they said, here, you can lock up a console for an extra $50 because demand is sky high, but if you give us $50 right now, you got a console coming in 3 weeks, okay? And if you do that, you pay that extra $50, we'll give you a $25 PlayStation card, because they're already bundling games and stuff like that, and they're already giving away games in PlayStation Extra, and they have no problem giving stuff away like that. So why not do something like that? Make an attempt for the consumer, okay? Because when you just raise prices and say, we're going to raise prices, inflation, sorry, it's just not a good look. It's just not. I mean, do you disagree that might have been a better way to approach it? Say, here's $50. We know it's hard. I mean, we know it's hard to get one. If you throw us an extra $50 for production costs, we'll get you a console faster. Is that a ridiculous sort of?
I don't think
idea?
So. It's a better solution than this. I would definitely agree with that. It's kind of a. I think I would probably do the same thing. I would probably pay the extra $50 to get it there quicker and make sure that I'm going to get it, or that sort of thing. That's actually a very good creative solution. That was really. I'm very impressed, Anthony. That you should be working there at Sony. A bunch of morons over there not thinking of this.
Again, this is all speculative. We're not in the trenches with Sony, but we can only offer our opinion on the PSBlue podcast, and hopefully you can take that for what it is. Moving along. Dead Island 2. What did I just say? Dead Island 2? I thought that game was dead. Well, you're absolutely wrong. Dead Island 2 is very much coming. This game is, excuse the pun, back from the dead. Dead Island 2. We got a new trailer at Gamescom 2022. And I must say, I don't know anything about the gameplay for Dead Island 2, but I do know this. Whoever's working on these trailers needs to direct a short film or something, because they are just crushing it. The original Dead Island 2 trailer was so good. Remember, it had that whole the guy jogging on so it looked like Venice Beach or something, and then it opens up, and it was just great. It was a very memorable trailer. It got memed and stuff, and people made copies of it, and this one's great too. So the trailer gets me excited. I don't know if the game's going to be good, but it's sure promising after seeing, the heart and soul that they're putting into this game. I want to toss it over to you though, Vinny. What do you think about Dead Island 2?
Dude, I was pleasantly surprised by this announcement. I had no interest in really the first Dead Island. I think I may have. Did we play the original Dead Island, or no? That was Dying Light that we had played, I believe.
Yeah, that was
Dead
Dying
Island.
Light.
Yeah, so
right.
I guess I don't really have any experience in the Dead Island universe. Now, I know it was very well received. It was kind of early in that co-op zombie shooter sort of movement that we experienced, when the original Dead Island came out. I'm thinking that was like 2010-ish, right around there. So not a whole lot of co-op, shooters going on at that time frame. That was kind of when they were ushering in the zombie movement, if you will. But this looks awesome. This looks really good. It's a little weird for me that the game is 8-player co-op. I feel like we don't see a lot of 8-player co-op games, and so that's a little bit jarring to me. Yeah, I actually looked it up online. I wanted to confirm that it had co-op, and it has 8-player co-op. So that's pretty cool. I mean, if you have 7 friends, I'm sure you can have an absolute blast playing this game at the very least. But it looks awesome. It looks really good. I'm actually very impressed. A little bit of a red flag that it's taken this long. But now that we've actually, and I'm glad that it's a gameplay trailer, not some cinematic again. I think that was the right way to do it, was to show gameplay, and it's coming out very soon. So that also took me a little off guard. February.
Yeah. So the trailer that I was referencing, just to clarify, I was referencing the cinematic one that I thought was really cool. I saw some gameplay, but I'm actually going to do some digging on that because I don't think I didn't even realize there was an extended look at the gameplay. So stall for a bit. Talk a little bit. Let me catch myself up here.
Yeah, no, not a problem at all because they released both back to back on the same day. So they did the CGI trailer and then they did the gameplay trailer. I'm telling you, man, go watch this gameplay trailer. It looks really, really good. Like graphically looks really impressive. It looks like I hate saying the word next gen, but I'm sure it's going to run on PS4, but it looks like it's running really well. There's actually really interesting, like a really interesting art design here. Like I think it looks really cool. I love this. I think it's taking place. I'm guessing this is like California. I'm assuming that's where this is taking place, somewhere on the beach. I don't know. It might be Miami. I have no clue. But I love it. It has the palm trees. Yeah, Venice, something like that. And it looks really cool.
Oh, like, it's literally.
I love this.
Can I interject for a second? It's literally Venice Beach. It's in the first 20 seconds you see Venice Boardwalk. It's literally Venice Beach. Yeah.
Which is an awesome area for a game like this. Yeah. I think it looks really creative. The art design looks awesome. It looks, for some reason, man, Dying Light 2 just looked kind of blah to me. Like the videos that I've at least seen, it looked kind of like just another zombie game. Nothing really kind of stood out to me. This looks like it has quirky characters. It looks like it has a really interesting art style. It looks like it's actually fun to play. A lot of interesting, I think that the original Dead Island was known for that, to just give you kind of like this tool set and kind of set you off and, go have a blast. This looks like more of that. This looks awesome. I think this looks like a lot of fun. Did you get the chance to pull up the trailer? Are you watching it?
Yeah, I'm watching it now. I agree. The gameplay looks pretty good. It looks like it's near complete, honestly, based on what we're seeing here, but I'm going to take a little bit more of a cynical approach. I don't know that we need this. I don't know that we need more zombies. I mean, I'm glad they finished what they started. I will say that. I hate when a game gets announced and hype gets built around it and then it gets canceled. That's always a bummer. But this is such a saturated market at this point. These zombie shoot 'em ups, if you want to call it that. Is it the same publisher as Dying Light 2? Because I know Techland made Dying Light and the original Dead Island. Did they not?
I think they did, actually.
Excuse the clicking. I'm looking it up right now. I'm trying to figure this out because I know that they're related. You know what I mean? I know that they're related.
Yeah, I agree. I think there's some sort of relationship there. I don't know if it was like developers forming a new studio and creating, making Dying Light. I'm not 100% certain on the, specifics there regarding making of the game.
One thing I did know is that Deep Silver, the publisher that publishes the Saints Row games, they've published these games, all of them.
Yeah,
the Dying Lights, the Dead Islands, they publish those games. So that I did know. It seems like it's Dam Buster Studios. Deep Silver Dam Buster Studios. So it's a new studio. Good. So they took it away from Techland, I guess, and Techland worked on obviously, Dying Light 2.
Yeah. I'm glad it's a
So,
new studio, to be honest with you. Give somebody an opportunity to, have some fun with a franchise that kind of needed some new life in it. So that's funny that you're saying that we don't need this right now. I would be inclined to agree with you. I think when I watched the what's the other game called? Now I'm mixing up the two games. Dying Light 2 trailer. I think when I watched Dying Light 2 and when that was coming out, I looked at that and said, we don't need this right now. This looks like stereotypical zombie, affairs. This actually looks like fun. This looks like fun to me. This, maybe it's because I haven't played a zombie game in a long time. I skipped on Back for Blood. Another game, Back for Blood. It just kind of looked like a rinse and repeat, nothing really special. This looks like a lot of fun. I'm curious to see what our audience thinks about this game because I could see, I just think this looks really good.
Just one quick correction. Deep Silver actually did not publish Dying Light and Dying Light 2. They were published by Techland themselves. Just a quick correction there. They published Dead Island Riptide though, so there's a relationship there. Just a quick correction. Yeah, they're just they're very very related games, and they get compared to each other a lot, and there's history between these two IPs, and they almost seem to go together. I don't know, you can write in if you're a fan of these, like a mega fan of this IP, but I'm not sure myself, and I'm too lazy to do any more research right now because we're nearing the end of the podcast. But I don't know, maybe you know this, Vinny. Is this the same universe? Dying Light and Dead Island? Are they in the same?
No.
I didn't think so.
I don't think so.
Okay.
No.
Okay. So straight up that they're not.
Yeah.
Okay. They're just too, and that's where my skepticism is. It's too much of the same thing to me. I get Dying Light's more parkour, Dead Island's more open world, beat 'em up. There's a lot more melee focus in Dead Island, but it's even you were when you were talking, you were getting the two games mixed up. It's just, I don't know that we need it, and I hope they prove me wrong. I really hope they prove me wrong. But this is definitely, I don't think I'm gonna pick this one up. I really don't.
You feel the same about this as when we watched the Saints Row game last week when we talked about that, right? I'm assuming you have that same feeling of, do we really need this? This isn't really warranted at this time. Kind of that same feeling. Interesting. I have different feelings on both. That's interesting. I'm curious to see what the people say about this one.
Yeah, it's we're gonna have to see some more gameplay, like an extended look on the gameplay. It's again, my number one takeaway here is thank God this game didn't get canceled, because I hate seeing that. I hate seeing games get, one trailer comes out, there's this huge amount of hype surrounding it, and then it gets canceled. It's always a bummer. I don't care if I'm going to play the game or not. It's just like, it just sucks because there's teams of sometimes hundreds of people working on this thing that gets ultimately scrapped and thrown away, and that's years of multiple people's lives that we're talking about. That's such a bummer. You know what I mean? Could you imagine working on something for 3, 4, 5 years and then finding out that, sorry, this game's not coming out? That would really, really suck.
Heartbreaking.
So, and I understand that this is obviously a lot different than it would have been, but it's still Dead Island 2, and the original team that worked on it, I'm sure some of their influence is still in the game. So that's great to see. I love to see that. And for me, this is one of those games that I would definitely check out when it hit like the $20 price range. I would definitely get it. I would definitely get this over Dying Light 2. I have no interest in Dying Light 2, to be honest with you. Even though it's supposed to be good.
Yeah.
But
I think
whatever.
Yeah. To close it out, I mean, I think this will probably be worth it if you're going to play with friends. If I had to guess, this will be worth that price point. This looks like there's a lot here, and it took so long to make. I'll be interested to see if there's sequences where you could tell, like a lot of times that'll happen when these games have really long development cycles where you could tell certain sequences were probably made 8 years ago, my mind goes to Kingdom Hearts 3. So that's immediately where my heart goes to. Or you could just tell that some of the sequences were just not, they were definitely made a long time ago. So I'm
Right.
interested to see what this one turns out being.
Yeah. Yeah. I would imagine if I had to speculate, I would say they probably scrapped it all several times and went back to the drawing board. But the influence of the original team is more than likely still there. Okay. Moving along. Vinny, I wanted to talk about Yakuza Like a Dragon because I downloaded it the second it became free for PlayStation Extra, or Essential too. It's the free game of the month. And I played it for about an hour. I said, this game's good. I'm really enjoying it. And then before I knew it, I was like 5 hours in, and I was like, wow, this is a really good game. And then one thing led to another, and I was 30 hours in, and I'm like, holy shit, this game is amazing. Yakuza Like a Dragon is unbelievably good. So, as we discussed last time, I've tried to play the other Yakuza games. They are very high production value, very critically well received, commercially well received, but none of them ever really stuck with me until Yakuza Like a Dragon. And I think it's the fact that they took a step back and changed everything. They changed the main character, they changed the core gameplay elements, they gave you this whole party system. And without spoiling anything, I will say this. Your character, Ichiban, he's the main character. He essentially fabricates this world in his head where your friends along the way and the enemies you fight along the way are all part of this. He's like a huge fan of Dragon Quest, right? The original Dragon Quest. It was one of the very first JRPGs ever. And he creates this fictionalized version of the world through that lens. And he talks about his party all the time and how he's like leveling up, and he makes references to it, and then that is manifested in the gameplay. It's really a really, really clever way to deliver this JRPG gameplay style in a very dark and twisted story and really dark world of Yakuza. So the game is that's number one. It's just so creative in that way. But the story is it's paced so well, and I talk about pacing a lot. I know I do. But it's by far the most important thing for me when it comes to movies, when it comes to TV shows, when it comes to video games. You have to have a good pace. And this game has that. It is paced so well that once you pick it up, you really can't put it down. Okay? And you can do all of the main quest things with a little bit of grinding, but the grinding never felt tedious because they give you a good way to grind. Let's just put it that way, because I don't want to spoil anything. But this is definitely a game that is, the more you play, the more you realize the story is sincere, because it starts off and you're like, okay, this is a ridiculous story. Nothing about this is, there's obviously dramatic moments in the beginning, and there's a lot of setup going on in the beginning, but you don't see the game as this dramatic, heartfelt story. At least I didn't, until you really start to peel back the layers of the onion. And this game, it is so absurd, but it is so grounded at the same time. And I'm talking again about the story, that it just presses you along the entire time. I can't, I'm glowing about the story. I know I am, but it's really that good. It's not, and it's ridiculous. It's as absurd as it is as dramatic as it is. And I don't mean this in a bad way, it's almost like a soap opera. It's very over the top. very dramatic, very filled with twists and turns that are very, very, very big, let's say. But it works. It works. And not to mention the gameplay. The gameplay is so fun. It is so fresh, and it's maybe a hair repetitive, but you can press along and really, the enemy types are so varied, and they have a system where you can switch out the classes of your characters. Although I found out that I liked the default classes for almost every character. And then there's in addition to this, there's also side activities that help you along in the main game. For example, there is a business management sim that I accidentally got addicted to and played for like 5+ hours. No, I'll be honest. I probably played the business sim portion of the game for like 10 hours. But
Wow.
as you progress in that, you actually gain a new ally in your party just from playing that. And you also gain new abilities to fight with they're not OP. Well, one of them's pretty OP actually, but they're really good abilities that you can take with your character. And then in addition to that, you can gain money, but it's never like a ridiculous amount of money that breaks the game and makes everything like pretty much free. It's just the right amount. The balance in this game is so good. It's just the thought, the level of detail, everything that this game throws at you is done concisely and very expertly. I don't think the game screams next gen. The graphics are fine. That would be maybe my only gripe with it. The Judgment games, Judgment and particularly Lost Judgment, which I've dived into that series after beating Yakuza. Those games, I think graphically hold up a little bit better, but as far as gameplay, like I'm watching a clip of this game right now just to sort of help me along while I talk about it, and it just makes me want to go back and play this game. Like it's really that good. It was so surprising to me, and I knew it was good. I knew it was like well received, but I was not expecting to love it as much as I do.
Wow. Sounds like I'm. It's funny. I'm not surprised that you liked it so much. I haven't played this game yet, so my experience with it is nothing. I have not played it, so I'm glad that you kind of went in depth there, because this looks like a game that I know I would love. I just haven't had the time to put into it. Like I know that I'm gonna want to, set aside a good amount of time. It sounds like it takes 30+ hours to kind of beat the game probably through. And I'm looking for that time. It looks amazing, and all I've heard are great things about this game. It kind of every time I watch this game now, I can't get over it. It just reminds me of Shenmue, but the good parts of Shenmue. Like the charm.
I was about to
that
say
we
that.
talked about.
It
This
does.
is like it reminds me of like where Shenmue would be today. Like if they kept building off of it. Like that's exactly.
Oh my
what
god,
it
I'm so
like.
happy you said that.
Yeah, it looks exactly.
And I meant
like
to say
that.
I literally meant to say that because that's exactly what it is. It's a different studio, obviously, but it is a build off. And that's why Shenmue is so important. I don't know if you have this game without Shenmue. You know what I mean? And let me just say this really quickly. As cringy as the English dub is for Shenmue is as good as it is for Yakuza Like a Dragon. You do not see English dub this good. It's really good. And I sometimes I'll put it in the original language a game if I feel like the dub is completely garbage. And that goes for more than just video games. That goes for movies and TV shows, but this game was specifically noted as having a really strong English voice cast, and it does. It's really good. Just to let you know, I forgot to throw that in there. But go ahead. What were you saying?
No, I'm glad you brought that up too, because a lot of times we'll play games like this and it's just trash. I'll find myself, I'm trying to think of a game where, I mean, it's been a total nightmare, but we've all been there where we have experiences where the dubs are terrible. So
Shenmue.
Shenmue. Yes.
There you
okay,
go.
perfect. Exactly, Shenmue. No, man, this looks like I keep bringing up Shenmue, but it does look like the next iteration of games that I personally loved. It looks like a PS2 game that I would
Right.
like I'm trying to think.
Right.
It almost brings me back to that warm and cozy feeling of playing a PS2 game, when I was younger, and it looks fun. I could tell that the writing is over the top, which I love.
I have one other thing that I forgot to mention. I played probably 70% of my playing session. I played on remote play.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
So let that sink in for a little bit, because the game is turn-based. This is the perfect game to take with you. I could play it. Let's be honest with ourselves. While I was in the bathroom, I could on my phone.
To go there.
I could, but I mean, that's not the majority of the time I spent playing the game. The majority of the time I was just like laying in bed, and it's really one of those like relaxing games. And it was kind of like Elden Ring, and I know I've brought this up before, but I went into it. I didn't expect to beat it or anything, but before I knew it, I was at the ending. I didn't plan to play it for 30 hours. You know what I mean? It really serves. I've said this about other games in the past. I think I said this about Roller Drome in my review of that, but it serves both playing styles. The long extended gameplay sessions, but you could jump into this game for 20 minutes, play a couple fights, level up your character, and then turn it off. That's why I stuck with the game, because it was so good for that. I could play it as a I've mentioned this term before, but I could play it as a bedtime story for 20 minutes before I go to bed, or an hour before I go to bed. But I could also sit on my couch, put it on my PS5 on my big TV and play it that way. It serves both playing styles, and the story presses you along, and you fall in love with the characters, and it's just everything it does well. And that's for me. That's why I think it would be a good game for you to play, because you could take it with you on your phone. You could I don't know if you do remote play, but it serves that function because it's turn-based, and there's some quick time event-y things that happen in the combat, but it just sort of maximizes your damage output, or like you can defend if you perfectly defend something. The core experience is the same, and you could still try and hit those quick times, but it's not going to be as easy, obviously, if you're streaming it. But the no loading screens is such a big deal in a game like this, because that's part of the draw against JRPGs is, for me at least, is, let's say we go back to the PS2 era. You have a game where every time you walk 6 feet, you're in a dungeon, let's say, you have to go through 1 or 2 seconds of a loading screen to switch from exploration mode to combat mode. And that wears on you. At least it does for me. And this game, you don't have that problem. There's it's on the PS5, so you're instantly in the combat fight. The combat fight. Wow. What an elegant way of describing. You're instantly in the combat. You know what I'm saying? So
yes.
It's that I think cannot be understated. The power of playing it on the PS5. The power of playing it on the PS5. But it's true. It's true. Playing it on the PS5, where you can jump in and out very quickly, it's awesome. So that's about all I have to say on Yakuza without spoiling anything. Does that sound appealing to you, Vinny? That portability factor, the playing it on the go, the short playing sessions. Have I convinced you to play this game yet?
Yeah, this is certainly a unique game where I could see myself actually using remote play. Like you said,
Right.
the turn-based combat allows for that to be, acceptable for a game like this. Now, me, I'm very picky about, I'm the frame rate guy, the performance guy, if you will. This is the type of game that I could see myself on my Backbone 1. Isn't that what it was called? Backbone 1?
Yeah.
On the toilet.
Backbone 1.
I'm just going to say it too. On the toilet playing this game. It looks nice. I have the game downloaded. Funny enough, I downloaded it, I want to say a few weeks ago when it was free. and I just haven't gone into it. So it's only a matter of time. The clock is ticking. I'll be hopping into this one for sure because it looks awesome. It really does look good. So I'm eagerly, gonna hop in there when I have the time.
And it's laugh out loud funny at points. Like, it really is. Like, I'll give you one example. When you summon, like a summon, you have to call in a friend, and Ichiban holds his finger up into the air, and like his finger glows with like a blue light, and he just like dials all the numbers on his phone. It's so funny. It's just like little nuggets like that over and over again. The charm to this game is endless. Damn, I might re-download this game and try and platinum it. I'm watching gameplay and it's just making me want to play it even more. And what better excuse to play my PlayStation 5 than the DualSense Edge? You like that segue? This is our next topic. Sony, on their PlayStation YouTube account, uploaded a little video about the DualSense Edge. This is the quote-unquote pro controller for the PlayStation 5. It has a million different features, and I'm going to open a tab and tell you guys some of them right now. Give me a second. I'll probably edit this out, but maybe not. Maybe I'll forget about it. Maybe I'll be lazy. Okay. Here we go. This is from PlayStation.com. We have the DualSense Edge with ultra customizable controls, mappable back buttons, changeable stick caps, adjustable trigger lengths, replaceable stick modules, and a USB braided cable with lockable connector housing. So, it's a very customizable controller. That's sort of what they're pitching here. You can remove certain elements and add certain elements. The removable stick modules. That's a big deal because there was a complaint about stick drift on the PS5. So you could just pop that module off and put a new one on instead of replacing the whole controller. But this is to compete with the Xbox, what's it called, Vinny? The Elite controller?
Yeah, the Elite controller. Yep.
Yeah, so it's in that same market. I don't know too much about this high-end controller market. I think Vinny, he plays more competitive games than I do, so he's probably going to be able to speak on this more. But, we got remappable buttons, tunable triggers and sticks, changeable stick caps, back buttons, and more. This has all the bells and whistles, and, Vinny, talk to me about it, because this really isn't for me, so...
Really? I'm surprised. Well, I suppose this is probably for more of a multiplayer-centric player or gamer. I do actually have an Elite controller. I have the second one that came out a few years ago. My guess, this is probably going to be between $175 to $200. They're probably going to charge about $200 for this controller. And you have now, I'm telling you, that's what it's going to be.
Freaking insane.
Yeah. I would be stunned if it's $150 or less than $150, I should say.
God.
Given the controller itself is already $70. I think my Elite Pro controller was right around $175, something like that, maybe $150. Anyways, I guess we won't talk price right now. I'm glad that they're doing this. I think this was the right move. Microsoft seems like they're killing it with their Elite controllers. It's at least a good, it's good to offer, gamers this option, if that makes any sense. A lot of gamers prefer those back buttons. I use those all the time on my Pro controller for particularly multiplayer shooters and things like that. It's awesome to have. I think I am going to pick one of these up. I will say this. I don't know if you noticed, behind the R2 and the L2 buttons on the Edge controller, there are these three little notches, which is how you select at what point the R2 button registers, right? So there's the middle option, the low option, and then the high option. At least that's how it works on the Elite controller. Now,
okay. I was wondering.
My question is, I don't know how that's going to affect the haptic feedback on the controller. I don't know if I'm assuming these are going to offer haptic feedback.
That was my next question.
That's what I'm trying to figure out right now is if this is going to have haptic feedback or not, or an option just to say, hey, I want the I want the standard haptic feedback mode, not this.
Yeah, I mean, they
So
claim
I'm
to
interested-
have
Yeah.
they claim to have all the features of the DualSense.
Okay.
That was
So
like
it's
a point
probably
that they made.
Yeah, there's probably an option to cancel that stuff out, I'm guessing, or whatever it is. That was one of the questions I had, but I'm glad that it does actually have it. Yeah, I see exactly what you're talking about now. Well, that's good.
Yeah.
I'm glad that they're offering it. It looks cool, I guess. I don't know if I like the colors so much, the white on black. I don't know if I'm like a huge fan of the look of it.
I feel like they should have done something a little bit more extravagant with the.
I agree.
With the way that they present it, because the Xbox Elite controller, that looks like something that you want. That looks like if somebody has that, you're envious of that controller. It just looks like a regular PlayStation controller.
Yeah. Now that I'm in agreement here. They could have done something with the color scheme or even the material. Like, I don't know if it's right where the joysticks are. I know we're analyzing this controller to death, but where the analog sticks are, the material looks like a glossy black. I don't like that glossy black. That's me personally. I like a,
Right.
a little, not glossy. I don't want my controller to be glossy, if that makes any sense. But this is cool. I'm interested. I'm glad that they're swappable sticks. I think that's cool. So that
I think that's
I
huge.
I love
That's a
that. Now I'm
huge
interested. I'm guessing they're not going to offer different sized sticks or different sized analog sticks. That's what Microsoft does. They offer you the 360 sticks. You get like a batch of them in your series or in your Elite controller. Now this is probably just in case if those rip, you could just put in new ones. Obviously, there's probably aren't different sizes. I'd be very shocked if they did that. But this is cool, man. I'm gonna have to see what the price is. I'm very interested to see what the price is on this thing. My guess, $200. That's where I think they're gonna go with this, and I'm not paying $200 for this.
I would rather spend $150 on a PS5 regular controller that has that PS1 theme. Because I'm looking at one right now and it's $148 on some custom gaming controller site, which I would never order it off of that site, off of one of those sites. But, that's just like a personal thing where I don't like the whole modding scene. A lot of people swear by it. So it's nothing. It's just me personally. I want a Sony licensed product. That's just say whatever you want about it, but that's just how I feel. I don't know if they have. I don't think they have. But if they ever release because they did with the PS4 controller, but if they release a PS5 controller that has that gray color with the rainbow PlayStation logo in the middle and the colored buttons, and it looks like the PS1 controller, I'm gonna scoop that up the second they announce it. Because I'm looking to see if they have a license.
It looks really
version.
cool.
It
I
doesn't
see
look
the one
like
that
they
you're
do.
talking about, $148.
You do, but
Yeah,
the PS4, they had a Sony licensed one for the PS4, and I almost bought it just to have it. And that thing is sweet. 20th anniversary, 20th anniversary PS4 DualShock 4 wireless controller. It's only $52. I might pick this up anyway.
yeah.
Oh, what a waste.
I'm
But it
glad
looks
that
so- it's
Sony's
so cool
offering.
looking.
Yeah, it is nice that Sony's offering a lot more customization with the PS5 era as opposed to the PS4 era. The faceplates on the console, having the ability to swap those out, put in different colors. Now we have the Pro controller. Pretty cool to see, So
Let me ask you a question.
good. Yeah.
Out of all of the colors, which I'm sure you've seen, the official colors from PlayStation for PS5, you have the regular white, you have like a deep black where everything's black. It's called Midnight Black. Then you have like a cosmic red. You have what is this one called? Starlight blue. It's like a periwinkle almost. You have a pink. It's like a hot pink and a purple. Which color do you like the best out of all 6 of those?
That's for the faceplates, right? We're not talking controllers.
No, I'm talking about the controller.
Oh, you're talking about controllers.
Yeah.
Midnight Black, 100%. I actually
Really?
have the Midnight Black controller, and
Oh, you do?
I love the look. I got suckered into buying it at Best Buy because it was on the shelf, and it just looks so cool.
Yeah, I was so close to
Midnight
buying.
Black. I think it looks cool.
I love that like periwinkle color. The one, it's Starlight blue. Like I have a lot of shirts in that color, but I don't know if I want my controller to be that color. You know what I'm talking about? Just like a bright, bright blue.
Oh yeah, yeah. That's a good looking color too. Honestly, I like all of the colors if I'm being honest with you.
Okay, so if I had to pick, it's either the purple one, I like the purple, or the black. Those are my two. Just curious. I was just curious what you thought. But anyway, that's it for this episode we have for your consideration right now. So stick around for that. We're going to do a two-parter, remember. Psychonauts 2 Part 1 is going to happen right now. Then we're going to switch to Psychonauts Part 2 in our next for your consideration. When Vinny finishes the game, he's about halfway through, like we said. And then Vinny will get a new game, and I will review... What's the name of that game I'm playing, Vinny? Trover? Trover Saves the Universe. So we're going to do all of that, but we're going to start right now with Psychonauts 2 Part 1. Vinny?
Yeah. I was gonna say I think what I'll do is I'll consider maybe keeping this spoiler free, and then I'll probably after I beat the game I'll dive more so into heavy spoiler territory.
That's a great
once
idea.
I have that complete fresh thought in my mind, so to speak. The first thing I'll say about Psychonauts, or at least my impressions of the game thus far, I'm probably about 7, maybe 8 hours, right in that range into this game. Dude, it's so good. I really, really am very surprised by how much I'm actively enjoying this game. I think it's awesome. A ton of fun. And I could see exactly why you recommended this game to me. It's totally up my alley.
Right.
The first thing that obviously stood out to me, and I'm sure anybody that has played it, is the art style of the game. To be honest with you, I never really looked at the original Psychonauts and said, like, that art style really clicked with me. It's when I played this one that I gained kind of like an appreciation for it. It's very Tim Burton. Like it looks like Tim Burton made a video game, if that makes any sense. That's every place that I go to, I'm thinking in my head, did Tim Burton like make this game? He has to have had like a huge part into it. Think right. Tim Burton meets Inception, a little bit of Men in Black in here. It's very over the top awesome, and I really, really am digging what I've played so far. The game is very clever. It's actually like cleverly written. That's another thing that's kind of stood out to me early on. I think this is a game that it almost reminds me of I know a lot of comparisons here, and this one will make sense in just a second. It almost reminds me of like a good Pixar movie. And the way that I say that, and why I say that, is because kids can really enjoy this game, and adults are also going to really enjoy this game. And Pixar does a good job of kind of, if parents that take their kids, they're both going to find some sort of enjoyment in their films. The game is cleverly written, man. I actually really am digging the story. I didn't think that I was going to, actively be like it almost kind of came across as like a kid's movie when I first started playing it. But as you kind of get into the story itself, you realize that there's actually a lot of complexity to the writing, to the story itself. It's awesome, man. I don't want to go too in depth with what I haven't I don't know where the story's going yet, so I don't really want to dive into too much spoiler territory. Those are the things that personally stood out to me. Gameplay's a lot of fun. It's almost like when I'm playing this, and we've said this about Yakuza, it brings me back like that warm, fuzzy feeling of like when I was a kid playing video games. We talked about last week about the 3D mascot platformers. So much fun. I love playing 3D platformers. There just aren't a lot of them anymore, and it's such a shame. And they're kind of having this resurgence now. Another thing that kind of this game is lovingly made. Like, you could tell that every part of this game was just painstakingly crafted, and I don't even know how to describe it. It looks so just creative, unique. I just love the look and feel of this game. Does that make any sense? I'm trying to I'm trying to find the words to describe it. It's like I had a smile on my face playing this. I've had a smile on my face playing it the entire time. The level design is a lot of fun. You're not doing the same thing over and over again. There's actually a lot of unique platforming elements and different sort of puzzles that you have to figure out. I know in one area, like jumping into these people's minds, and the writing gets really creative when you're in somebody's mind in particular as a psychonaut, going into these people's minds, trying to put thoughts into their heads or changing their opinions on things. It's very clever with the way that it handles these things. It's unlike anything I've personally ever seen. I think you had spoken about it where it's you can't make a movie with what Psychonauts is, right? Like There's no possible way to do it. It's unlike anything that you're ever going to see or have probably played before. I don't know. I never played the first or the original Psychonauts. I watched like a little synopsis video on it. But the game actually does a good job at the beginning, kind of letting you know what happened in the first game, before you jump into the second one. It does like a little presentation thing when you go into it. And it does a good job explaining it. It's a lot of fun, man. I'm loving what I'm playing so far. I think next week when I finished it, I want to go a little bit more into the particular levels that I enjoyed. I'm in a level right now that's amazing. It's like actually bumped the game up from like an 8 to damn near 9, and I could tell if it kind of goes, further down the rabbit hole, so to speak, which it seems like it's going to end up being like a 9 or a 10. I can't recommend this to anybody enough so far from what I've played. It's just a lot of fun. It really is. Now, I'm a little bit worried about the length. That's my only concern at this point, is I'm thinking of like, how long did Ratchet and Clank take to beat, would you say? I'm trying to think. It's probably like
15,
10 hours?
15
I would
maybe.
say about 10 hours. Maybe it was 15 and I'm misremembering these things. I guess that's the thing. I'm curious to see how long this game is going to be. I hope it's 15 hours. That's my hope. I want it, I don't want to be, I don't need me. I'm more into the shorter game sort of spectrum. So I'm hoping this is tight 15 hours and it doesn't kind of overstay its welcome, so to speak. But right now it hasn't at all. Like the gameplay doesn't get stale. And I just can't say enough about the writing. The writing in this game is really creative. Like you'll be in somebody's mind and, one of the other Psychonauts will tell you, oh, I think he's having doubts. And then there will be a monster that comes right up and it's a doubt. It's called doubt that you have to kill. Like, I know that sounds very simple and bare bones, but it gets much more thoughtful and creative as the game kind of goes on. Dude, this game's awesome. There's a lot of fun.
It's a personification of all of these different emotions and what's the word? Sort of experiences in your brain. The personification of it is enemies that you have to fight. You have to fight doubt. You have to fight anxiety. You have to fight censorship. It's cool. It's so. It seems like you're struggling to come up with words to describe the game, which is actually good because the game is beyond describing. You have to sort of see it to believe it. And but the one thing I'll say on that is I think the reason that the worlds are so creative is because the core concept of Psychonauts is such a good idea. I think that's really, the jumping off point is such a great concept that it just sort of, not that it writes itself because the writing is amazing and nothing I would have thought of for the Psychonauts universe, but it's so easy to be creative because the ideas, the characters are oozing with potential and creativity. So I think it starts in the conceptualization phase, and they had such a good foundation with the first Psychonauts that this is just sort of the realization of everything they probably wanted to do on the PS2, but you would have had to have 50 PS2s to do what they've done with this game. You know what I mean? As far as computation power and just graphical fidelity. And, we always say graphics are important, but gameplay is far more important. This is one of those games where, because you're not trying to be realistic, it's very art driven and stylized. It really lends itself to the increased graphical fidelity. Like the game actually functions better and delivers its message better because of the graphics. And that's rare, I would say. Because graphics are normally just something pretty to look at. Let's be honest. more realism, more whatever. But the graphics serve the story, and that's another really big deal, I think, with this game.
Yeah, it's beautiful. It is genuinely a beautiful game to look at, and I couldn't agree with you anymore. I'll also say this, for a developer to have this sort of concept, Double Fine, probably the perfect developer for a game of this, with this concept, an Inception sort of experience. Double Fine did such an outstanding job with the concept. It's so brilliantly laid out.
Yeah, let's before we go, let's talk about that a little bit. Do you know anything about Double Fine or sort of the lineage of Psychonauts?
I don't know anything about the lineage of Psychonauts itself. I do know a few Double Fine games that I've played in the past. I dove into Grim Fandango. Oh, I played the remaster.
Oh, there you go. Okay. Yeah.
Was fantastic. A lot of fun. Broken Age, I believe, was out on the PlayStation 4. I love that game. Oh, you played Broken Age? A lot of fun. Oh, yeah. Broken Age was awesome. It was a free game. Did you beat it? I want to say that I did. It was so long ago at this point.
Did you get to the twist?
Don't spoil it for me.
I won't spoil it.
I guess you can.
No, I won't. There's
came out so long ago.
There's a plot twist in that game that is so good. I still think about it like to this day. It is so good, and I've talked to my sister, played it, and I recommended it to her. And Teresa, she said she saw it coming, but I didn't see it coming at all. And I consider myself pretty well versed in sort of plot tricks and things like that. But it was such a good twist as far as. It's awesome. I would highly recommend going back and finishing Broken Age if you have the time, which you don't, so never mind. But anyway, so it's Tim Schafer. Tim Schafer is the creative figurehead for all of these games at Double Fine. It's more or less his studio and a few other people, but it's Tim Schafer. Tim Schafer is the guy. So his sort of claim to fame was The Secret of Monkey Island, as well as Day of the Tentacle, and like you already mentioned, Grim Fandango. Those were some of his bigger games. But he also has a history with Jack Black, which is why I know the level you're playing right now is the Jack Black level. He did that Brutal Legend game. Do you remember that game?
That's right. Yeah,
literally starred Blackjack.
Yep.
Yeah. But I'm almost positive, funny enough, that you brought up Broken Age. I'm almost positive Broken Age was a Kickstarter program, and I'm looking at it right now just to fact check. Yep, it was working under the title Double Fine Adventure as a placeholder title, and it was a Kickstarter crowdfunded project promoted by Double Fine and Two Player Productions in February 2012. So yeah, it raised its money, and it had 2 acts, and it was he's a very creative storyteller, Tim Schafer, but he does things that serve his medium extremely well, as in Psychonauts 2, as in Broken Age, as in, I would argue, the first Psychonauts. There was also a VR Psychonauts game that I did not have the pleasure of playing, and I'm pretty sure it's a PlayStation VR exclusive. Oh, no, that's wrong. It's not at all. It's on Vive and Oculus. But anyway, I did want to check that out because I love Psychonauts. I've played the first one probably 5 or 6 times. Not all the way through. I always get to like near the end and sort of something else catches my eye, but I finally made a point to actually complete the game before the second game came out. And I did. I beat it before the second game came out. So I went straight from the first one right into the second one. And I have to say, it's uncanny how similar the second game is to the first one. And the first one is a PS2 game. It's just, it's very, very close to the same thing. But obviously some innovations in gameplay. But the characters, the writing style, if you like this game, I would say go back and check out the first one. Just at least brush up on it a little bit because the game's awesome. It was one of the first games I bought like 2 or 3 times. I had it on Xbox. I had it on PS2. I had it on, and then I re-downloaded it for PS3, and then I bought it again for PS4. So I
Wow.
bought the game like 4 times. Yeah, that's how much I loved it. But yeah, I think Psychonauts 2 will dive a little deeper next week, but it's a special game, and to me, it would have been my game of the year had it not been for oh no, Psychonauts 2 came out in 2021.
Yeah, that was it came out last year, I want to say.
Oh, then it's my game of the
This
year
year.
for 2021. Yeah, yeah, 100%.
Wow.
100%. I don't know. I'd have to, very quickly go and brush up on 2021, but I don't think anything touches that game. That game is so good. So good. Keep playing. I would say one thing about me is I felt like it was going to end maybe 3 or 4 times, but I'm also like you where I like shorter games unless it's something like Yakuza Like a Dragon where it just serves that longer play style. But I was thrilled every time the game didn't end. I will say that because this was one of those games that I played as sparingly as I possibly could because every second I played, I was just so thrilled to be playing it that I really let it breathe. I marinated for weeks playing that. It literally probably took me a month to beat it because I would go in for an hour at a time and put it down, go in for another hour, put it down. I did not want the game to end. I love this game so much. But that's what I'll say about the game not ending quick enough. If the game went on for another 20 hours, I wouldn't have had any problems, I don't think, because I just think it's that good. But I understand what you're saying.
Interesting.
You said you're on the Jack Black level, right?
Yeah, I'm on the Jack Black level right now, which is amazing. I was too tired to keep going. I was like, you know what? I think we discussed this. I literally was like, I got to be fresh-minded. I got to be enjoying this a lot more than what I am right now. So, because the game is, I just hope this creativity keeps up, if that makes any sense. That's why I'm a little fearful of the game being a little longer. So I'm interested to see where it kind of takes me from that point on. But it's awesome. I can't wait to go back and play some more because I'll definitely have it beat by next week, obviously.
Who's your favorite character so far?
Who's the potato guy?
Ford Cruller. I knew you were gonna say that.
Yeah,
Ford Cruller.
He looks straight out of Nightmare Before Christmas. Looks just like he reminds me of
the
mayor
potato guy
from the Nightmare Before Christmas. No, I'm talking about the potato guy. Literally a potato-sized human being. Looks like Mr. Potato, but
he
Tim
was
Burton
the
style.
he ended up being
beginning of the game. Yeah,
he ended up being the bad guy at the end of the first game.
Yeah, he's funny. All the characters are funny though.
Right,
they're all good. The doctor at the beginning is hilarious. He's like actually like a really funny person. The dude with he's got the brain hanging out.
Oh yeah,
he's the
teeth
dentist.
guy.
The dentist.
Yeah,
the dentist.
Yeah.
He's funny.
Isn't that Teeth World in the beginning creepy?
Oh man, it's so cool.
It's like it
is
makes you
so it's so cool.
Where
It's
did they
such
come up with this?
I don't know, and it looks beautiful too. Like it really does. The lighting is really cool. The casino world. I think we'll dive more into the individual worlds themselves, I'm sure, next week.
Okay.
But there's some really impressive world creating here because there's obviously distinct areas. They're so distinct from one another. They're totally different. So that's what's kind of pushing me to keep going too, is just excited to see where the hell I'm going to go next. If that makes any sense. Yeah.
No, that 100% makes sense. The game also is surprisingly funny. Like the humor it's
hilarious.
And it gets funnier. The further you get into it, the funnier it gets. So I'm excited for you to play the rest of this. You absolutely have to finish this one. No exceptions. Trust me, you will be thanking me that you beat this game. It is so good. But I mean, that's all we have for this week. I'm really, really excited for you to finish this game. I cannot wait to finish talking about this next week. But I'm happy that you're taking your time and giving it the attention it deserves. And that, to me, is a sign of a really special game where you say to yourself, because we talked about this off the air, you say to yourself, I need to stop playing this because it is not getting my full attention and it deserves my full attention. That's how you know the game's special. And that's how I also felt about Psychonauts 2. So until next time, we will see you all. Thank you for listening. We'll see you all on episode 15 of the PSBlue Podcast. Thank you, as always, for tuning in and making it this far.
Thanks, guys.